It's a Valentine's Day senior night showdown in Mineola. From the AAC, the Holy Trinity Titans take on the Chaminade Flyers on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Tonight's game is presented by Catholic Health. He's John Baccio, I'm John Perez. John, love is in the air around the world. Not sure if there's a lot of love in tonight's game between the two. Certainly a lot of respect and mutual respect from two local rivals. Chaminade comes into this game in first place in the NSCHSAA, coming off a 65-49 win over St. Anthony's. Meanwhile, Holy Trinity, they mucked it up in their win over St. Mary's. We'll look at the standings in a moment, but there's a lot riding on this game for both of these teams. For Chaminade, they want to win 20 games, 10 league wins. That's a major accomplishment. For Holy Trinity, seeding still at the line. It's a big game for both squads.
Oh, 100%. I mean, both of these teams really, not only do they have a lot to play for, but, I mean, Chaminade, they're looking to really jump out to a huge win on their senior night, and Holy Trinity, they're looking to do the exact opposite. They want to ruin this night as much as possible. Trinity come into this game at the 3 seed, Chaminade the 1 seed, so, you know, both of these teams really have played well through competition. Chaminade 9-1 in league play, Holy Trinity 7-3. So both of these teams have progressed a ton throughout the season. We've seen changes, we've seen ups, we've seen downs from both of these squads. But really, I think the biggest part is Holy Trinity on that game against St. Mary's. I mean, that was just a tough win, and not the win that you would expect from such a good team like Holy Trinity.
Well, credit St. Mary's. They shot the ball well in the first half, did a good job of going at Matt DeFalco, who's one of our impact players today for Holy Trinity. He was a player that picked up 2 fouls right away, and then the Titans were never able to get into a groove as we look at our 2 players to watch. But have no fear, Corey Somerville was there. 15 points, a team high in the win against St. Mary's Friday night. It was an emotional night. The Titans retired Matt Doherty's number 30. Of course, Doherty having a long career as a head coach at UNC, Notre Dame, and what they called the greatest basketball player in the history of Holy Trinity. So for the Titans today, they're going to rely on that 1-2 punch, and Somerville and DeFalco bring so much to the table.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Somerville, he's athletic. He does everything. And DeFalco, one of their only returning players, in fact, the only returning player on this Holy Trinity squad, and he just provides so much for the team. He playmakes. He can finish at the rim. He can shoot. He plays decent defense. And, you know, he wasn't even a guy that started last year, but he's really accepted and embraced that role as a starting player on this squad. And Somerville, I mean, you can't talk enough about the guy, someone that didn't even play basketball for the Titans last year, and now he just jumps into a huge role like it's nothing. He's been critical for the Titans.
And there you see Matt DeFalco as he'll go up against the Chaminade Flyers, who have now won 14 of 15 games, currently in first place in the league. They've locked up the top seed, but you can make the case that while there's nothing to play for, they want to win their 20th game of the year, and they will be led today by David DeBuscher and Bradley Wyckoff, our 2 impact players for the Flyers. And, of course, DeBuscher needs no introduction. Basketball royalty in the New York area, averaging 19.4 points a game. Top 10 scoring in the league, and Bradley Wyckoff messed around and got a triple-double in the win over St. Anthony's Friday night. A vaunted 1-2 punch for the Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, these 2 guys the entire year, they're everything for Chaminade. They are the ride or dies of this squad. And DeBuscher, I mean, he could go off for 30, and you'll know his impact. He could still have 20, and he'll act like he's not even there because all he's doing is coming down the court, getting a nice and easy opportunity, and shooting the 3 ball like it's no one's business. You saw him. That one right there, I know you couldn't see it on the screen, but that was a make. And then Wyckoff, you can't talk enough about the guy. One of the tallest guys in Chaminade's regular starting lineup, and he leads them in rebounds and assists at just over 6.5 a game, rebounds just under 5 assists a game. I mean, you can't talk enough about these guys. As I said, they're everything for Chaminade. They do it all. They play it all. And, I mean, they're the type of guys to go out and play 40 minutes a game and lead Chaminade to victory 100% of the time.
It's senior night here at Chaminade as the Flyers faithful pack into the gym. Beautiful gym, obviously, here at the AAC, and parents filing in as well as we get ready for Senior Day, which should be ticking off in just a couple of seconds. And before we get to the ceremony, Botch, there's a lot going on in this game. Strategically, let's look at our keys to the game today as Holy Trinity, they want to get a shot on every offensive possession and not settle. This is a Chaminade team that can get up in your grill and force you to take bad shots. They don't want to settle for those bad shots. Obviously, force turnovers without fouling and take care of the defensive glass. Chaminade, one of the best teams at second opportunities on the glass. And meanwhile, for Chaminade, very simple, says Dan Feeney. Seniors got to be ready to play. We're going to see an all-senior lineup in just a couple of moments. Be unafraid to make a play. Hey, it's your last game. Playing with house money here, and execute when improvising. So those are the keys to the game for both sides. And, you know, anything else in that category, Feeney says just be ready to go, as we are ready to go for Senior Day here at Chaminade. And the Chaminade Flyers now with 10 seniors on this squad. And, you know, it's funny. It's such a big gym, obviously fabulous gym, but you can hear a pin drop when the music goes down, Botch.
Oh, 100%. And here goes the PA, done by Thomas Gamba, who's been helping us out with the broadcast today. They'll be doing a small little introduction for each player, going out to the middle of the court, getting their photo ops, met by their family. Definitely going to be interesting to see today. But, I mean, what's really most important is how these players play on the court, and they're getting a great introduction right here as there's Jack Shevlin going out right now. Shevlin going to get his flowers first, then he'll head over to his family members. But really, just a really nice ceremony out here today. And the starters for Chaminade, as you said, will all be seniors. Most of the players for Chaminade today will be seniors, so definitely interested to see how these lineups roll out today.
Yeah, Shevlin, obviously a senior, averaging a couple of buckets a game, and just always a good moment. You always remember the years that you play, and that's one thing that Feeney talked about, too, was that these are the most egoless seniors that he's had on his team, and they understand that if there are underclassmen that are performing, they're going to get the minutes, and these seniors have lived with that. As this is Arnold Okoye. He will be in the starting lineup today, averaging 3.4 points a game this year, giving flowers to his parents, and a nice moment there. And, of course, you got to love the good-fashioned ribbing that the awes you hear from his teammates.
Okoye been on this squad his junior and senior year, got some minutes last year, has really stepped into a nice role as one of Chaminade's primary defenders this year. And, you know, all these moments just heartwarming. And Okoye really taking it all in. You can see him point to the sky right there. Chaminade really like to exemplify all of their faith in everything they do. And here's Cam Rose coming out as well.
Yeah, and, you know, Cam Rose, a guy that has just grown into this point guard spot, coming off the bench, being a good spark plug for Chaminade. He'll get the start today. Someone who didn't start a lot of games in his career and really filled the void when Jack Conley was injured, twisted his ankle. And you know what? You got to have depth if you want to be one of the best teams in this league or get to that mountaintop. And you know what? A lot of teams could suffer and could just bow out when they lose one of their top players like Conley. Well, for Chaminade, have no fear. Cam Rose was there.
Yeah, 100%. Cam Rose. I mean, just an incredible player. Always has the ball on a string. And he's just the prototypical point guard that every team can look at and really use as a valuable piece.
This is Sean Kieran being introduced now to his parents.
Kieran, although maybe not a primary basketball player, still a crucial piece to this squad. He is committed Division I to Siena for lacrosse. And a great guy, great player on the court as he gets his moment.
So congratulations to Sean, as wants to go out a winner on the basketball court and obviously wreak some havoc on the pitch for lacrosse. This will be Josh Charles, the next man to be introduced. One of the tallest players that can jump out of a gym, Charles. Feeney had a lot to say about Charles and his development over the years. Really turned into a good big man down low. Could shoot it a little bit, and he'll get some run today.
Yeah, Charles, 55% shooter from the field, and, you know, he lives in the paint. And we've thrown around this term, but it's really applicable for Josh Charles. He just wreaks havoc down there. And you see, he even towers over his parents.
You know, that's funny because when you see some of the bigs and then you see their parents, you think, okay, maybe they're in the same vicinity size-wise. No, towering over and obviously still growing. As Matt DeFazio Now being introduced and coming on as well. DeFazio also a member of the starting 5 today. And gotta love the parents wearing the matching red as well.
DeFazio will be attending Boston College for the next 4 years, obviously a prestigious university, but he really can get it done on the basketball court too. Just a super hard worker and a great personality. One of those guys you really want to be around when he's on the bench.
And not really changing the red and yellow color scheme either. Moving up to ACC country, which is so odd to hear in the Northeast. I know they've been in the ACC for a bajillion years now, but still a little odd for some of the old school folks who remember the Eagles back in the Big East.
From Rockville Center, number 45, P.J. Kellichin.
And P.J. Kellichin now being introduced, of course, one of the tallest players on the floor, and what a year it's been for Kellichin. Headed to Scranton next year, and we'll talk about his story later on, but had a brush with faith, and thank goodness is okay now.
Yeah, P.J. Kellichin, I mean, as we've said, a phenomenal story, but also just one of the best players on the basketball court that you see at all times. Another Josh Charles type of player where they just live and die in the paint. PJ, one of the top rebounders on this squad, and in his first game back after his heroic story, actually led the team in rebounds, had a double-double with 10 and 11.
This is Antoni Vlagianitis, and what a stories he's had too. And of course, Vlagianitis, a popular name around these parts, his cousin Leo, obviously a star over at Garden City, and he was someone who did not get a lot of playing time coming up, and checked his ego at the door, spent so much time in the gym, became that gym rat, and played himself into a rotation. Botch, it would have been easier for him to just say, you know what, I'm transferring out, I'll go somewhere where I can play, and he decided to stay with the Flyers.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Antoni Vlagianitis, you said it yourself, one of the hardest working guys on the team, and really cut out a spot for himself on the team last year. Was one of those guys that would come off the bench some games, not others. He was a little bit inefficient, but this year, I mean, you can't ask for more from this guy. Averaging 12 points a game, one of the most efficient players on the team. And, you know, when you're shooting technical free throws, Chaminade goes, Vlagianitis, get out there.
This is Bradley Wyckoff, who's coming off his first career triple-double. And Feeney said he didn't realize that Wyckoff had a triple-double until they were well into the locker room after he gave his speech. And he said that he wasn't surprised because Wyckoff just does so much on the basketball court that it's not a surprise that he ended up with more than 10 in points, rebounds, and assists. And one of our impact players here, Dave DeBuscher, of course, the grandson of the late Dave DeBuscher, who played with the New York Knicks and from Detroit, but of course winning 2 championships here with the New York Knicks in the 70s. And just a fantastic career for David as well. And Chaminade averaging just under 20 points a game, but the progression that he's had over the last few years has been insurmountable.
Dave DeBuscher, one of the premier players on the Chaminade squad since his sophomore year. I mean, he earned that starting spot as a junior, but in his sophomore year, he was the 6th man. He was the first guy off the bench. So, I mean, really, he's just been a star for the Chaminade squad this whole time, and they expected him to take this leap in a sense because of how good he had been in his prior years. But, I mean, you can't ask for more than the guy in what has been such a great senior year for him.
So now the whole team shot will come around half court, and it's a Chaminade team 19-3, 9-1 in league play, looking to put a bow on a magical year and, of course, get back to the championship round in the Catholic League and get over the hump this year.
Yeah, well, it's been an incredible year for the Flyers so far. I mean, this is nice and all, but obviously the mind is staying on the objective, but that's nothing to take away from what a beautiful moment and a beautiful thing that Chaminade always puts together in senior day.
And just a great shot right there. Rompierre out on the floor. We've got the A-team here today. Rompierre, Angelo Caiazzo manning the sticks. And, of course, Chris Sweeney behind the 1s and 2s. But great sights and scenes here at Senior Day. And, of course, memories that will last forever for not just the student athletes, but of course their parents, and perhaps the last time that they play on this floor.
And the juniors look on from the side. They'll get their moment eventually, but today we know who it's really all about, as even Camaro stays on the court for an extra few seconds, and they'll now head into the locker room. Chaminade going to get their 5 minutes of warm-ups pretty soon just to get back into the swing of things, but definitely looking for a fun game today, and Chaminade, it's a great way to start it out.
So it'll be a 5-minute warm-up for both of these teams in a couple of moments, and having said that, we will take a break. You're watching Varsity Media's production of the Long Island Catholic League Showdown presented by Catholic Health.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST.
Thunder, and what a look.
Photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
We welcome you back to the AAC here on the campus of Chaminade High School in Mineola. Alongside John Baccio, I'm John Perez. Should be a fun one today. Holy Trinity coming into this game at 11-6, 7-2 in league play. It's not senior night for them, so they'll roll out their starting lineup of Matthew White, Malachi Cooper, along with Corey Somerville, Aiden Colonna, and Matt DeFalco. Keep an eye on DeFalco and Somerville. There are two impact players, but someone who really made a presence the other night didn't show up on the stat sheet. Matthew White doing a good job grabbing a few offensive rebounds, rekindling some offense in a game where it was really decided in the trenches. That was the difference for Holy Trinity.
Yeah, White's been a great player as well. I mean, we talk about the two impact players that we've got for today in DeFalco and Somerville, but White's play cannot be understated. Averaging about 7.5 a game. He had 18 points versus St. Dominic's. I mean, he's just that old reliable type guy for this Holy Trinity squad that is always in the right place at the right time.
Meanwhile, 10 seniors for the 19-3 Chaminade Flyers, 9-1 in league play, and this is the starting five. That was decided in practice yesterday. Feeney said that he would have a 5-on-5 with both of his seniors, and the best five would start, and there you see Arnold Okoye, Dave DeBuscher, Cameron Rose, P.J. Kellichan, and Matt DeFazio getting the start this evening here at home on senior night. And, of course, these two teams meeting earlier in the year, and it was a victory for the Flyers. Of course, a win for the Flyers today would lock Holy Trinity into the number 3 seed. But there you see DeBuscher, Dillon, and Wyckoff. Devin Dillon, a junior who normally is in the starting five. We'll see how much run he gets tonight. He had 11 points. Vlagianitis also in double figures with 10. And, of course, DeFalco and Somerville, a thorn in the side of Chaminade, but they were still able to get that 10-point win.
Yeah, Devin Dillon, I mean, you just spent some time talking about him. Although we're not exactly sure how much PT he'll get tonight, he's been almost the Matthew White type guy for Chaminade this year. The junior, I mean, he's the most efficient player on the team in terms of field goal percentages. I mean, as a junior guard, you wouldn't expect to be over maybe 50%. This guy's at 61. I mean, he's just been so efficient for Chaminade this year, and you can't ask for much more out of the junior, averaging about 7 a game. And then you also tag along with that 4.5 rebounds and 3 assists. His impact simply cannot go understated. But, I mean, those guys will always pop up. And by those guys, I mean your DeBuschers and your Wyckoffs are 2 impact players today. There's never going to be a game where you won't see them at the top of the stat sheet. And, I mean, it's just been consistency at its purest form for them this year.
And not just at the top of the stat sheet, but at the top of the standings as well. In the NYCHSAA, Chaminade is locked up the number 1 seed. A win for Holy Trinity would put some pressure on St. John the Baptist, who plays Friday night against St. Anthony's right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So an opportunity. Now listen, these games will be played on neutral floors. It's not that big of a deal in terms of home road, and of course these teams, a lot of them though, not that far of a bus ride. But either way, you still want to lock down that number 2 seed. It helps you gain some momentum. And, of course, you're facing Chaminade in the final and not the semifinal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Holy Trinity has everything to play for here. And Chaminade, they want to play a good game on their home court on senior day. I mean, that's the best place that you could possibly do it, especially with some some fresh faces in the starting lineup. Cam Rose, Okoye, DeFazio. These guys really looking to go out and put everything they can into the floor.
So they're going to have the national anthem here, and we will step aside as well. Chaminade and Holy Trinity on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST.
Under, and what a look.
Photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Back here at Chaminade, the starting lineups being introduced. Well, we talked about the last time that these two teams met in the regular season. How about last year in the final? And, of course, setting the scene, 17 seconds to go. Matt Kelly misses the free throw. Back the other way. Manu put in the man, and Manu and one, getting the bucket for the Titans. That would tie the game at 50. And, of course, his free throw wins it for the Titans as the Flyers can't get the shot off. And celebration for Holy Trinity, their first championship since the 2019 season. And, you know, looking back at these current seniors, a few of them on that team, a few of them got some significant run. They remember what it was like and that heartbreak, and they've used it really to fuel themselves this year. And I'd have to imagine that they want to not just knock off Holy Trinity tonight because it picks up their 20th win, but, of course, help avenge the loss from last year and keep them from facing off in the final again, although I'm sure they'd accept that challenge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was just an incredible game over at Hofstra. An overtime thriller, ends on an N1 from Manu Alford. I mean, both sides played just a phenomenal game. But Holy Trinity, a very different roster this year. Graduated a ton of guys, couple transfers, and that's just stuff that you can't necessarily prevent. But this year, Chaminade looking to come different. They've got a lot of the same guys on this team that were on that team last year, so they know exactly what it's like facing Holy Trinity in a big stage.
So PJ Kelichin just introduced as just a couple of more moments before tip-off. It's been a fun senior day ceremony here at the AAC as the sun starts to set in Mineola, and hopefully, for the sake of both of these coaches, they talked about it, starting to not just have the sun go down, but also shoot the lights out and light it up that way. Of course, Holy Trinity coming off a root canal type of victory against St. Mary's, 44-41 the win, and Chaminade knocking off St. Anthony, rival numero uno.
Yeah, I mean, that rivalry can't go unstated. Chaminade 2-0 against them this year, but that first game that they played, a little bit sketchy.
It was a 65-49 win as it's PJ Kelichin and Corey Somerville for the jump, and Kelichin has about 8 inches on the Holy Trinity guard, but the Titans win it as they'll bring it into the front court. 11-6 this year, 7-2 in league play. A win would move them that much closer to locking up the number 2 seed in the NYCHSAA as White operates and digs it over to the wing. This is Somerville and reverses course up top to Malachi Cooper, a junior guard averaging 13 points a game, and he flushes the first basket of the evening, and Holy Trinity goes up 2-0.
Cooper with a nice step back from the short corner. Great way to start the game for the Titans.
That was something that Joe Conifrey said they need to do a little bit better job of getting some separation on these shots too, and that was one of the keys to the game. Don't settle and don't take 4 shots. Comes around to Busher, fires a 3 off the heel. And here come the Titans. Somerville. And here's DeFalco into Busher. This should be a fun matchup tonight as DeBuscher wins the first battle of the evening. And Dave moves into the front court. Okoye to Rose, walled off. DeBuscher lets it fly, can't connect, and tapped around to Kelichin, and you could see why the rest of the league has fits with this big for Chaminade, and it gets knocked in. That's DeBuscher, and it's a 3, and the Flyers go in front.
DeBuscher starts his night off 1 for 3, but we all know the impact that he has on this squad, and he can flip that switch at any moment.
Meanwhile, White's going to be called for a travel. And the Flyers take over.
Chaminade already up 3-2, basically a minute and a half down in this first quarter, and they've already come out and established dominance with this full senior lineup.
DeBuscher, that's a deep 3. He hits it from Hicksville. DeBuscher, back-to-back triples, and the Flyers go up 6-2.
Can't get much better than that. DeBuscher with flames early on in this quarter.
And that's just a shot that he's gotten so much more comfortable with. Kelichin had the rejection, but a foul on the Kelowna attempt, and Aiden Kelowna will head to the line to shoot 2.
PJ Kelichin, a shot blocker at heart. He's 6'7", so obviously, I mean, he just towers over everybody on the court, but he is always finding his way in the paint, blocking shots, getting in the passing lanes, and then he can finish down low as well on the offensive end.
Kelowna, one of 4 juniors in the starting lineup for Holy Trinity, averaging just under 10 points a game. Nails them both. And the Chaminade lead down to 6-4. DeBuscher the handoff. Okoye attacks, has it stripped. Keeps possession, and here's Cam Rose, who was the super sub in the absence of Jack Connolly. Kelichin, disrupted by Kelowna, collects his own miss and puts it back in. A couple of points and now 3 rebounds for Kelichin through the first 4.5 minutes of play.
A freight train down low. That's the best way you could put it, and it shows right there. Gets his own offensive rebound and puts it right back up over 2 defenders.
Check that 2.5 minutes of play as Cooper off the mark. And there's DeFazio making his first start of his Chaminade career. DeBuscher with 6 of the 8. Matched up with DeFalco. Okoye over Colonna is pure.
Okoye was saying before the game, get ready for me to get up there. We've seen him throw a few down before, but can he pull it off today? Will he get that transition play? We can only hope.
Someone who showed out in practice yesterday, and it was a meritocracy in practice. Cooper, the highlights, and the bucket for Colonna.
A beautiful play from Cooper right there. Gets the man to jump, drives right by, to the top of the arc, one-handed pass down low, and it doesn't get much easier than that.
DeFazio spots up from 3 and sticks it. It's raining threes in the first quarter. Chaminade goes up 7.
DeFazio averaging just under 2 a game, and he gets his three-pointer right there to top his average. But DeFazio, a knockdown shooter and just a hard worker.
DeBuscher to the cup, no, but a foul. And we'll see a hockey-style line change in a moment.
Chaminade loves to play fast. That's just something that they're just known for. And they're just one of those teams you never want to play a press against because there's no disrupting a team like them. They're always making the right pass, the one extra pass, whatever it may be. I mean, these guys just find a way to never mess up in transition.
And there you see the substitution pattern with one more shot for DeBuscher. As Jack Shevlin, Bradley Wyckoff check on. DeBuscher hits the second. Sean Kiernan as DeBuscher comes off for Antoni Vlagionitis. And I feel like I'm missing one more, and of course it's Mr. Josh Charles. Somerville, halfway through the first quarter, misses the runner. And the Flyers with the push up 8. Kiernan thought about it. Now the Flyers slow it down.
And this link-up play between this Chaminade lineup is evident right here. Again, taught the right Chaminade basketball.
Vlagionitis, the floater, untrue. And Colonna gets the carom. White to Cooper. Eye to eye with Shevlin. This is White to the cup, bust inside, and gets the deuce back. Somerville, a player that could jump out of the gym. He's just so bouncy, but has really worked on attacking the basket over the last 18 months, and it's shown. As Somerville averaging just under 14 points a game. 3 in the corner. Kiernan, not that time. And here's DeFalco. DeFalco, coast to coast. Yes, sir.
DeFalco, the only returning player on the Chaminade squad, and here go the Flyers in transition.
One and done. Kieran with the missed. Somerville takes up his dribble. DeFalco, a travel.
DeFalco, just a tough mistake right there. As he's taking it right to the paint, he gets about 10 feet out, but could have used one extra dribble, takes 3 steps, and, I mean, that's a textbook travel.
Bradley Wyckoff into the front court. Flyers looking to sweep the season series against the Titans, and a foul on the floor. And that'll go to Malachi Cooper, his first, team second of the quarter.
Shevlin, a lights-out shooter, now will be taking the inbound after getting fouled.
Vlagionitis. Shevlin, there's that lockdown 3. Can't get it to fall. And here comes Somerville. Pushed up ahead to DeFalco. Tees it up. Can't connect. The tap back doesn't fall for White as he takes a tumble. Chaminade had numbers, but a good job by Holy Trinity to get back. Corner 3. Vlagionitis is pure.
Vlagionitis, a 34% three-point shooter. And he's just knocked down from that left corner, loves the far side. And, I mean, he can hit it from deep. He can hit it from short. He can attack you from everywhere.
Well, and he hit it from the corner. And the interesting thing about Vlagianitis, like every shooter, was in a little bit of a slump over the last 2 games, as DeFalco can't get the friendly roll. So the Flyers hoping to get Vlagianitis warmed up and off the schneid, headed into the playoffs. Wyckoff, the pump fake, can't finish. And here comes Holy Trinity down 7. Cooper, scoop layup, not that time, as Charles gets the rebound. Vlagianitis, good ball movement. Wyckoff, back to Vlagianitis. Bradley up and under, and Wyckoff can't get it to go. Rolls out of bounds. It'll be Titan basketball.
Brad Wyckoff, he's one of those guys that he can really do it all on the floor. Score, shoot, pass, rebound, play defense, all of it. But just one part that, not to say it's not part of his game, but it's definitely not the most prevalent part, is his scoring. I mean, he gets to the basket right there, open look, couldn't hit it, but I mean, he's hitting that 9 times out of 10, so you can't really knock the guy.
Well, and we talked about the Connolly injury earlier this year as DeFalco misses the bunny, is that Cam Rose picked up a lot of that responsibility, but Wyckoff also got some experience running the point, and he's not a natural point guard, but he'll facilitate for the final 20 seconds of the first quarter.
Yeah, last year he was definitely a devout forward. This year he's been that kind of point forward type of role. Positionless basketball is what Chaminade plays, and Wyckoff emulates it.
Vlagianitis with 5. The step back. Not that time. Here's DeFalco. And doesn't get the shot off in time. Should have let it go a few ticks earlier. And that's where we stand after 1. It's a 17-10 lead. The Flyers over the Titans on senior night on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Captain Jack from Cardinal Hayes. And you're watching Varsity Media.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Start of the second quarter on the Varsity Media Sports Network, and Dan Feeney has to be satisfied with what he's seen in the first quarter, John Baccio.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can't get much better than that. You're up 7, and you're not really playing your usual guys. Now those juniors will roll back out there, and you see Dylan and Knaus immediately. This is the starting 5 that Chaminade has rode with all year. It's their ride or dies on the court. I mean, DeBuscher, Vlagianitis, Knaus, Dylan, Wyckoff. These are the guys that you see getting rolled out every single day to start every game. And now the juniors start to get their opportunities. But on senior day, you like to see those seniors getting their roles in. You got a 10-man senior lineup on this squad, so they play the whole first, establish a 7-point lead here for Chaminade, and they look to get rolling here in the second.
And this man, DeBuscher, led the way with 7 points in the first quarter. Vlagianitis kicks it out to Knaus. And a whistle before the shot. Foul away from the play, as that'll be the first foul on Corey Somerville of the quarter. Knaus lets it fly off the front lip, and the rebound by the two-sport athlete Zion Woodall-Trippett. And Cooper will navigate with DeBuscher.
Woodall-Trippett gets it done wherever he's at, and on the basketball court, he is an absolute demon.
Of course, was the backup quarterback behind Rocco Rainone in the AA champion Holy Trinity Titans squad that went back-to-back. We'll stay with Holy Trinity, 33 to shoot.
Trinity looking to establish their presence here. Only 10 points in that first quarter. We saw in that Mary's game those skids, 5 points in that second quarter, 8 points in that fourth quarter. And that's just what Trinity really wants to avoid here today.
Somerville throws one up on the skyhook, and that doesn't fall. And here's Dylan. Junior averaging 7.2 points a game. And Vlagianitis with the hoop. He's so acrobatic.
Vlagianitis shows flashes of his finishing always. And right there, he gets to the rack with ease and finishes it for 2.
It's a 9-point lead for Chaminade, their largest of the half. Somerville off the screen. Pass deflected, goes right into the hands of DeBuscher. Dave DeBuscher coast to coast, misses the left-handed layup. Tapped back by Wyckoff, causing disruption, but here comes Cooper. Cooper, the step back. No, sir.
And Chaminade get the stop right there, but something that it really all starts with is 100% effort on every single play. I mean, Wyckoff right there, he could have easily just gotten back in transition. Holy Trinity, they love to play fast. They're going to attack you immediately as a timeout is called by Holy Trinity. But as I was saying, Wyckoff could have easily just gotten back, established a defensive presence, but no, he stays up for a second longer, and he's able to wreak some havoc in the backcourt for Holy Trinity, and immediately that's affecting the rest of the possession.
That foul on Kelowna as we have a busy week here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Well, tipping off after this game tonight. Right here on the same YouTube channel, Monsignor Scanlon takes on Christ the King. A Bronx-Queens matchup. Joe Arbitello looking for his 300th career win, the head coach for Christ the King. And then we stay out on Long Island this Friday night. St. John the Baptist against St. Anthony's. This is a big game for St. John the Baptist, regardless if Holy Trinity wins or loses. Like we mentioned earlier, if the Titans win, they will be the number 2 seed at the moment with no other regular season games to play. Meanwhile, St. John the Baptist with a win would all but lock up that number 2 seed with the win.
Chaminade, the guaranteed 1 seed at this point, but still, you want to get a win here today and ruin Holy Trinity's 3 seed chances as Knaus misses his open 3.
And Matthew White into the front court. DeFalco, he's got to get going. This is the 3. Outlet it up ahead. Wyckoff thought about it. Then is swarmed. Knaus to Vlagianitis. Didn't catch it cleanly, but goes right into the hands of Dylan. Just looked uncomfortable on that layup attempt. Here's DeFalco. He's comfortable around the rim and wine.
And Holy Trinity, they're one of the few sporadic teams that you'll really see, and sporadic just plays to their advantage. Normally that's not a light term that you like to throw around, but Holy Trinity, it just works perfectly. I mean, they get in transition, nothing's really set, but they can just improvise like no other. DeFalco right there gets it from outside on the right wing, gets all the way to the cup, and just finishes it for 2. No problems doing so. I mean, it's just exactly what you want to see from Holy Trinity, just playing their game, doing what they know to do. And it's like they almost just picked up the basketball and said, hey, 5-on-5, I want these guys on my team. That's exactly how they play, but it really just plays to their strengths.
Here's DeBuscher. Has been more of a facilitator in the second quarter. Hoist and dials it in. What a hot start for DeBuscher. He's in double figures with 10 as the Flyers go up 9 almost midway through the second quarter. DeBuscher hits the deck, causes the turnover. Floated up ahead. Receives it back. Does he have another one? You betcha!
Off-ball movement at its finest. DeBuscher feeds down low, knows that his man isn't paying attention to him. He's looking to collapse. DeBuscher gets out and open for a 3, knocks it down. He's got 13 already.
White matched up with Wyckoff, gets picked up by Dylan. Chapette Can't bank it in. DeBuscher with some space. 3 for 3, Dave DeBuscher.
He's feeling it right now. That's 3 straight threes for DeBuscher as he checks back in, and he is locked in right now. He's got 16 of Chaminade's 28.
Looks like a pro on that shot, the turnaround, Jay. Here's Cooper, busted side, was deflected by Wyckoff. And the Flyers on the push. Vlagianitis. DeBuscher, why not? Vlagianitis steps into it. And Chaminade comes up empty. One of the few times this quarter. White the other way, rattles it back in. White with his first points of the contest. As DeBuscher gets picked up by DeFalco. Receives it back, loses it. Goes out of bounds. It'll be Titans ball.
Chaminade playing that classic dribble handoff type style right there, but DeBuscher just loses it as he gets to the rack. But Chaminade, they love to do this handoff offense where, Vlagianitis, you saw right there. He kicks to the right wing with DeBuscher. DeBuscher will then rotate to the top of the key. Vlagianitis is going to hand it off, immediately set a screen, and now DeBuscher's in open space to do whatever he wants at the rack.
Jack Connolly, the junior, averaging 7 points a game, checks in as DeFalco reins in the triple. That makes it a 10-point game. Vlagianitis, the answer back. Too strong. And then a foul afterwards. The double whammy on Chaminade, the missed shot, and then Dylan picks up his first. And the team's third.
Chaminade just coming up empty on these last few possessions, but this is prime time for Holy Trinity to draw this one back in. You see DeFalco getting more involved in the offense, and Holy Trinity, they're just going to play their guys that they know can get this one a little bit closer than it is right now. Still only a 10-point deficit with about 2.5 to play here in the second half.
Trippett lets it fly, short. And the clear out by the Flyers, it's Dylan. Dumps it off, Knaus, rejected, Somerville with a big-time swat. And pushes the agenda the other way. Lets it go, and knocks in the jumper. Well, that's his shot. He's gotten so much better in transition as Connolly busts to the rack but can't finish. White tries to corral it, skips the end line, and steps on the baseline, and a turnover for the Titans. And, it's very easy if you're Holy Trinity to kind of get phased out by the hot shooting of DeBuscher, but credit them. They were down 15 just a couple of moments ago. They made it an 8-point game, and going into the locker room, at a 1 or 2 possession game would be a win for the Titans.
Oh, 100%. And you saw it right there. The Titans really starting to play the offense they know and love. Somerville showing off the acrobatics. I mean, he gets higher on his jump shot than most people do regularly, just jumping up and down. So really, you like to see him getting in the swing of things for this game.
DeBuscher, he's got another one. 19 points for Dave DeBuscher in the first half. White the other way. And an offensive foul. And who else? DeBuscher getting it done on both ends. And the Flyers take over.
The do-it-all guy for Chaminade, not only their leading scorer, but now he's charging. Now he's forcing charges on the other end. I mean, this guy can't do much more for the Chaminade Flyers team.
The seniors showing out on senior night. Knaus, too strong. Connolly gets tied up. Ball ripped away. Cooper. No, sir. And Cooper wanted a foul, didn't get it. Floated over. This is Ricky Gunther, the sophomore. DeBuscher, left open. Can't drill it.
DeBuscher's already knocking on the 20-point door with under 40 seconds to play here in the half.
Kelowna to Somerville. Had a 15-second differential between game and shot clock, but the Titans just need points. Moving the pivot foot. Somerville swirls it in. Somerville with 6 in the first half. Shot clock turned off. And here come the Flyers.
Connolly looking to settle it right here as now he goes to the rack and kicks out.
DeBuscher dishes off. At the horn, Connolly knocks that time. But it was all dropping for Dave DeBuscher in the second quarter. And at the half, the Flyers lead the Titans 31-22. Some hot shooting, particularly by Dave DeBuscher, but a good job on the defensive end against the potent Holy Trinity team. Complete first half effort by Chaminade.
100%. I mean, Chaminade, you can't play much better than that in that first quarter. You said it, but all seniors getting rolled out. And they go to a 7-point lead, 17-10 heading into the second, and Chaminade just advances by 2 off that. They're up 31-22 going into half. And, I mean, they are just in a comfortable position to cruise through this game. And, you know, you may get to see some of those seniors back again for that second half, but all the guys really getting some run, and Chaminade just gelling as a unit as they have all year.
So it's halftime here at Chaminade. We'll step aside when we come back. We'll recap the first half and get you ready for the second half. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Hi, I'm Gene Sterator, CBS Rules Analyst and longtime sports official. For the adults watching this video, you grew up in a world where officials, umpires, and referees for youth sports took their place regularly and reliably ahead of game time. Today, unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to fill those jobs. Videos showing abusive treatment of officials multiply on social media. And there have been consequences for the dreadful behavior of players, fans, and coaches. Massive shortages of officials now lead to games being canceled, and the positive effects of athletic competition are at critical risk for this generation and those to come. I'm hoping we all can begin to see youth competition through a different lens. Today, mistreatment of officials has become normalized, and we are facing an abnormal future where no officials to hire means no games on the schedule.
Any call, any decision, any human effect on wins and losses has become subject to not just withering criticism, but physical threats. There's a vicious cycle at work. Fans chase away officials, and there is a smaller pool to draw from, which makes it harder to get quality, well-trained people in position. The entire game suffers.
Did you know, according to the National Federation of High Schools, 80% of new officials quit the game after just 2 seasons because of abusive behavior from the stands and sidelines? This sort of verbal abuse and threatening behavior takes a toll on all officials and makes them leave the game altogether.
Did you know, from 2018 to 2022, an estimated 50,000 high school referees, roughly 20%, have quit. Half of the remaining referee population is at least 50 years old, but young officials are rarely staying more than 3 years in the job.
If the number of officials working contests in all sports doesn't begin to increase, there won't be enough officials to work the games. That means schedules will get cut, teams or even sports might get canceled. In many states, this is already happening.
Remember that officials are invested in what they do. Many officials have regular, full-time jobs, and they're sacrificing time away from their families. Try to demonstrate empathy. Put yourself in their position. Think how you would feel about getting yelled at throughout your workday.
Yelling and arguing with officials sends the wrong message to young players. According to Play by the Rules sports advocacy, it teaches them that it's not okay to make a mistake. They can blame others for their actions. They can disrespect authority figures. And it's okay to be rude and selfish.
You know, officials enforce rules, keep competitions fair, and make player safety a priority, allowing youth sports to be a valuable arena for growth. If we can all just work together and be more empathetic to not just the officials, but everyone else in youth and high school sports, we can then preserve what many of us have embraced about athletics. And you and I know the benefits of sports, right? Let's spread that gratitude and be proud of what we can build and not blind to how it's being torn down. Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
So what happens now? Your response in the heat of the moment is the only thing you totally control, and we have an experiment for you to try. Simply stated, just cheer for your child or the team you're there to support. Move that desire to lash out to a different place and encourage without rage. Your child's sporting memory should be about how you helped inspire and not about how you caused embarrassment.
This is Ian Jackson from Connor Hayes, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Jackson! The one-handed flush!
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST,
Under, and what a look!
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Halftime here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Chaminade with a 31-22 lead over Holy Trinity. Well, how did we get there? Well, of course, it was the hot shooting of David DeBuscher leading the way, 19 points. And, you know, it's funny because it wasn't a one-man effort. DeBuscher hit 3 threes in a row, knocked in 4 threes in the second quarter. He was quick, and then it was really a concerted Chaminade effort. But the next two leading scorers, you got Matt DeFalco and Corey Somerville. And, Botch, as we look at the rest of the Chaminade scoring, You see a lot of contributions the other way. Their team rebounding. Your thoughts on the Flyers in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, the Flyers, my thoughts, honestly, they played phenomenal. I mean, you can't go out there and have a 9-point lead without just playing some of your best basketball, especially in that first quarter. You roll out a lineup of all seniors, and, not every single one of those guys plays every single game. So it's really nice to see a unit that just gels out there, plays the basketball that they know what to play. And, I mean, overall, they did everything, right? I mean, obviously, Dave DeBusschere, you can highlight him. He's got 19 of their 31. That means only 12 points came outside of him. But, I mean, it really was a team effort at the end of the day. Assists, someone has to pass it to DeBusschere. Someone has to rebound the ball. Someone has to get steals. Someone has to get blocks. You know what I'm saying? So, it really is a conservative effort. And, you got guys like P.J. Kelichan. He's got 4 rebounds. Devin Dillon, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Wyckoff's been all over the place today. And a really conservative defensive effort as well has propelled the Flyers to this point.
Yeah, you mentioned Kelichan with 4 rebounds as well. And, of course, we want to remind you that today's game is presented by Catholic Health. Be sure to visit CatholicHealth.com as the Flyers and Titans locking horns again in a busy week on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We'll show you the upcoming games at the next stoppage. And here's Matt White. Just started off, backdoor cut, Corey Somerville, and a good start for the Titans as Somerville whacked on the way up. This foul should go against Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, Holy Trinity starting it out early, just getting to the rim as soon as they possibly can, establish dominance as fast as one can do so. And Somerville, I mean, he's the guy that you want doing it. 6 points in that first half. He knocks down his first free throw, but he jumps out of the gym. He's got a real true shooting stroke to him. His game can be put in all facets of it, and his defense as well is something that you cannot go without saying. So really, he's been a great player for the Titans, not only today, but throughout this entire season, stepping into a huge role this year.
Well, and the interesting thing about Somerville as the shooting guard is he leads the team in blocks. That's just how effective he is down low against some of the bigs. Backdoor cut to DeBusschere. He's got 21, and now 21 points away from 1,000, something that he could conceivably get if he gets the playing time, and Feeney rolls him out here in the second half.
And that's something that I talked about a little bit is DeFalco with the end one right under the rim on the steal. But something I mentioned in the first half was that off-ball movement. It's so crucial to the Chaminade game that we always see them playing. I mean, backdoor cut right there, right off an off-ball screen. You can't get much better than that. The place that Chaminade draws up, but also the execution that goes with it is so crucial. And Chaminade's not only their 10-point lead today, but their near 20-win season this year.
As DeFalco hits the free throw, and Matty D with 11 points in the first half. The three falls down. Vlagianitis. He's got 8.
Vlagianitis, another guy for the Chaminade team that has just shown out every single game as he gets called for a reach-in right there. But Vlagianitis averages 12 on the season, and he's one of those guys that's just a pest. You never know when he's going to hit you, but you know that he's there.
And, of course, we mentioned his cousin Leo, one of the top players at Garden City, and those two teams met earlier this year. And it was funny because when Feeney was putting the schedule together, he asked Antoni how he thought about Garden City and putting them on the schedule, and Vlagianitis' eyes lit up as DeFalco gets the deuce back. And, of course, how could they not light up? Garden City and Chaminade winning that game 80-56.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge one. Two cousins going right at each other. Leo Vlagianitis actually just got voted an all-county player and also the county MVP for Garden City, putting together such an incredible season. And, you know, public versus private school, obviously that matchup gets a little bit difficult for the public school, but, I mean, it shows how good both of those two teams are. And Leo Vlagianitis, he's put together a phenomenal season, just like his cousin over in Mineola, one town over.
Here's Devin Dillon. Dillon didn't get the start today because it's senior day, but has been a starter this year. And Feeney just lauding how much Dillon has improved his game over the last few years, and just someone who is as reliable as they come and does so many things well. And you could see that on full display, and certainly somebody that the Flyers are going to ride on if they want to have that deep postseason run. DeFalco, nice feed underneath. Colonna. And a whistle before the bucket, as that foul will go to Knaus.
Colonna, the drop step going the other way, gets fouled on it. Now Holy Trinity is going to have the chance to inbound on the baseline.
And a fresh 35 seconds on the shot clock as well. Holy Trinity got it down to 8 in the first half as Somerville misfires. And here come the Flyers. Back the other way, Knaus, his runner doesn't fall. White. Picked up by Dillon, and Somerville resets. As Cooper will run the show on the wing.
Knaus blank in the points column, can't come up with that layup right there in transition. And a 6'5" junior, I mean, he's a guy that lives in the paint but really lives on the outside. The second highest three-point percentage shooter for Chaminade so far this year, just behind DeBuscher.
White, $1 million move, 2-cent finish. Here's the Flyers underneath, and that layup attempt is missed by Dillon. As it's floated over to DeFalco and swung around the arc and a travel. Somerville called for steps, and the Titans sometimes tonight have just been their own worst enemy with the unforced turnovers.
Yeah, the Titans, I mean, right now, only a 10-point deficit, but this game's been all Chaminade today. And as you said, Holy Trinity just doing it to themselves. It's been sloppy turnovers, bad shots that have been doing them in today.
DeBuscher, nice backdoor cut, and he's got 23.
Can't ask for much more out of the senior guard today on senior day.
DeBuscher picks up the loose change. It's a 2-on-1. Nice feed underneath. Vlagianitis. What a connection, DeBuscher to Vlagianitis. The Titans call a timeout as the Flyers are soaring. They're up by 14. And, you know, DeBuscher, he was lights out from beyond the arc in the first half. He's been getting it done down low and being a facilitator in half number 2, Botch.
Yeah, DeBuscher, I mean, him and Vlagianitis have built that connection since they were youngins. I mean, both of the two growing up in Garden City playing travel ball, everything together, intramural ball even, CYO, everything you could possibly think of. I mean, these two guys have grown up together, and now they're playing on senior day together for the same high school. Can't get much better than that. DeBuscher knew exactly where he was, found him on the no-look, and Vlagianitis picks up the loose change for 2.
Well, we talk about the relationship, obviously, the grandson of the late Dave DeBuscher, one of the greatest Knicks of all time. I think Mike Vaccaro ranked him number 4, which obviously makes a lot of sense. I don't know how you can separate Ewing and Walt Clyde Frazier, but there you see just DeBuscher getting it done like his grandfather back in the day, Vlagianitis, with the bucket. And trying to think of a number 30 on the Knicks before Bernard King, and I'm blanking here. But either way, just so efficient on the floor is the junior Dave DeBuscher.
Yeah, the junior Dave DeBuscher, phenomenal, and obviously his grandfather, an NBA 75 player. That means he's a top 75 player of all time, as voted by NBA executives, coaches.
Oh, and don't forget he was a top 50 selection as well on the original list. So.
That is true as well. I mean, everybody on that list, obviously an esteemed player, and Dave DeBuscher, one of the greatest Knicks and Pistons of all time.
Drafted by the Pistons in 1962, 8-time All-NBA selection and 6-time defensive selection as get a foul on the floor, and this will go to Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, the guy just got it done, and his grandson getting it done on the Chaminade floor as well.
Colonna on the block, trying to back down Wyckoff. That's a tough task, but he gets the hook shot to go. Aiden Colonna not scoring at the rate that he's been over the season, over his last 2 games. He averages 10 points a game, but he's been stymied today. But good to see him get back into the act to make it a 12-point game. as the foul will go to Somerville.
Yeah, Somerville just gets a little handsy right there. The junior 2 guard playing some really nice aggressive defense on Connolly, but Connolly deals with it perfectly right there, shields off his defender and forces the foul as here's DeBuscher for 3.
He's got 26. Dave DeBuscher with 3 to the dome afterwards. And a 15-point advantage for the Flyers at home. DeFalco steps into a 3. Can't stick it. Tap back. Vlagianitis on the tap from Dillon. DeBuscher's feeling it. Offensive foul. Good job by DeFalco to draw the charge.
DeFalco couldn't hit the 3 to respond. Instead forces the charge to respond. Now Holy Trinity will get a fresh 35 on the shot clock with 3:35 here to go in the third quarter. Down 15. You got to get it going.
Yeah, they just have to find a way to start chipping away and getting some defensive stops. Of course, the first challenge, fill up the cup down here. Kelowna. And he'll head to the line. Wyckoff with the whack. Seventh team foul for the Flyers, and here's Kelowna.
As we said, Holy Trinity, they got to start chipping away right here. Down 15 points, and Kelowna not really scoring today has been a big part of that. He's got 7 points right now, but still he averages just about 10 a game. So you'd like to see more out of Kelowna here today, but still Holy Trinity putting up a fight, as always.
6 of those 8 in the second half for Kelowna. He's done a good job, though, on the glass with 5 rebounds and a foul at midcourt.
And Holy Trinity, you can't play much better defense right there, but as we've said this whole time, Connolly, just a true point guard at its finest, knows what to do and when to do it. And we talk about an impact player. He's got the highest box plus minus on this team. I mean, Chaminade, when he's in the game, is up 15 points on average.
DeBuscher, the floater? No, sir. Planks off the back iron. Game 2 of 2 in the regular season between these local rivals. And Chaminade in cruise control after a 60-50 win earlier in January. Snapped pass down low, DeBuscher to Vlagianitis again. What a connection those two have been in the second half.
DeBuscher, his shooting's been a little bit streaky in the second half, but everything else about his game is all still there. The passing, the defense, it's all on display.
The roll for Somerville. As Holy Trinity gets a pair back, DeBuscher finds underneath, and DeBuscher, the facilitator, as Devin Dillon gets the hoop.
You don't see it often, but 4 assists for Dave DeBuscher today. He averages 3 on the season.
Somerville, teardrop. No, sir, goes right into the breadbasket of Kelowna, squirts free, and then a foul afterwards. Or check that, a timeout called by Chaminade, and a crafty move as well. Be a 30-second timeout for the Flyers, and this is game 1 of 2 tonight. Of course, at 7:30 p.m., which should be. Let me get my watch. That's a couple of minutes. Or check that. They were about 24 hours and 25 minutes away.
Just about.
There you go. I apologize on the date infraction there. And then Friday night, St. John the Baptist taking on St. Anthony's. Friday night, 7:30. Back out in Suffolk County. As Chaminade in cruise control. Feeney seeing a squad take a 15-point lead just over the final 2 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, and really the only thing that you can say about Chaminade today that you might want to fine-tune a little bit, especially heading into the playoffs, is just shooting the ball a little bit better. I mean, they've missed their fair share today, and that's to be expected from a high school team, but there's certain streaks in this game where Chaminade needs to be knocking down some shots and silencing the crowd, in a sense.
Ricky Gunther checks in for the Flyers as DeBuscher takes on 2, flips it up, no good, taps back Vlagianitis. He's having himself a second half. He's got 14. Justin Brown checks on for Holy Trinity, wearing number 22. And that's number 10, Somerville. He's got 11.
Here goes Vlagianitis at the top. It's DeBuscher.
Drills it. Another triple, DeBuscher. He's got 29. What a talent he's been from beyond the arc. Brown misfires. Right over to Cooper. Fresh possession for the Titans. Flips it up and in. Corey Somerville with 2 the other way. He's got a baker's dozen. And a 16-point edge for Chaminade. Gunther to DeBuscher. He wants it. This is Connolly. Off to Wyckoff. Over Colonna. Hits the front rim. Wyckoff busting inside. Yes, in the foul.
Wyckoff getting big. He's a brick wall down low. And, you know, we talked about his scoring a little bit. Although he's not maybe putting up the most points in the world, he's got 2, 3, and 3 right now. And here's the replay. Wyckoff just getting big and talking his smack as he should.
PJ Kelichin checks in for Chaminade as Wyckoff heads to the line for the end one, coming off his triple-double performance in the win over St. Anthony's. Off the mark. Under 45 seconds to play in the third. Somerville jacks up a 3. At that time, Kelichin gets the board. Gunther. And Gunther, a sophomore that's just got so much talent, and he's a good slasher to the paint. Obviously not getting a lot of playing time tonight as it is senior night, but someone that the Flyers have relied upon this year, and all the seniors have rallied behind him, and there's such a camaraderie for this Flyers bunch, and that's what good teams need, and Chaminade has that in bunches.
Gunther, he's just one of those guys. I mean, Chaminade, they're not a team that's known for pulling up a lot of players. I mean, he's the only sophomore on this squad. Knaus was the only sophomore, on the squad last year. Before that, it was DeBuscher and Matt Kelly. Chaminade, they don't do it often, but when they do, they find talent that can really just strive in their junior season. And an extra year of development can do so much for a player in high school.
Kelichin denies. A shot attempt underneath. Connolly. Kelichin calling for it. Puts it on the deck with 6 to play in the third. Gets the reverse layup. Kelichin with his first points of the half. Half-court shot, Somerville. Off the mark. But the Flyers go into the fourth quarter on a big connection between Vlagianitis and DeBuscher. And how about a little PJ Kelichin as well. Let's head to the fourth on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST.
Under, and what a look.
Photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Back here for the start of the fourth quarter alongside John Baccio. I'm John Perez, and Chaminade has taken control of this game, Botch, behind 29 points by Dave DeBuscher. He's now 13 points away from eclipsing the 1,000-point mark. And he's on the floor wearing number 22 in white, so keep an eye on him. You simplified it off there. It's just 4 threes and get a free throw in there as well, something that he's already done in the second quarter.
As he tried getting that backdoor cut right there, Holy Trinity down 22, looking to combat Chaminade's lead that they really piled on in that third.
DeBuscher, the handoff, Vlagianitis. What a 1-2 punch they've been.
That no-look backhand pass, DeBuscher's pulled it off 3 times this game, and when he's in transition, no one knows what to expect from the guy.
16 points for Vlagianitis, 4 dimes for DeBuscher. DeFalco off the mark. Trippett couldn't secure the rebound. Vlagianitis goes to the deck. Knaus jostling with Somerville, and Somerville will pick up the foul.
Knaus, although he really hasn't put on the points today, none so far. He does have 5 rebounds, and he's one of those guys, it's just always nice to have him on the floor. He's a threat at all times, and he's a guy that you just never want to leave open.
DeBuscher snaps the pass up ahead as Chaminade breaking the press. Vlagianitis gets hammered, and we'll head to the free throw line. And let's take another look. That's how you break the press. As Trippett picks up his first foul. And Vlagianitis now with 17.
Chaminade always calm under pressure, and Vlagianitis shows it off right there. Gets to the rim, forces the foul off the pump fake, but Chaminade breaks the press, more importantly, to get into the front court.
Somerville, no-look pass over to Trippett. Zion throws it up and gets the bucket. His first bucket of the contest. Here's DeBuscher, high arcing 3, air ball. As Wyckoff throws it off to Falco, and it'll stay with the Flyers, 22 to shoot.
Those 100% effort plays. I mean, Chaminade now they're going to stay with it. 22 on the shot clock, but it's really all down to the effort that each and every one of these Chaminade guys put in every single play. Wyckoff off the air ball, pumps up his teammates by throwing it off to Falco and giving Chaminade another chance.
To the rack, it's Devin Dillon. Dillon with 6 points. And Chaminade leads it by 25. Sam Horn checks in. Miscommunication between he and DeFalco. As P.J. Kalichan comes in for Wyckoff.
DeBuscher going to run the point. Again, he's got 29 today through 3 quarters and a minute.
Here's DeBuscher. Kalichan underneath, off the pretty feed by Devin Dillon. Dillon's got 4 assists and a timeout taken by Holy Trinity.
And who wouldn't love to see P.J. Kalichan yam one down today? I mean, that would really just be the topper on senior day. They had the whole pregame celebration beforehand, bring out all the seniors, bring out the families, they get their photo ops, all that good stuff. But now Chaminade, they've really shown off their ability in a game where all the parents are going to be at, so it's nice to see these players shine in their most likely final opportunity on their home floor.
And, of course, there you see P.J. Kalichan, and what a year it's been for him on and off the floor. And, we talked about it earlier, but, on December 6th, suffered a seizure and cardiac arrest and was rushed to the hospital, and thanks to the training staff here at Chaminade was able to perform CPR on him and distribute an AED and get him back to resuscitate him. And he's been someone that, that can disrupt the team, obviously, for chemistry reasons, and has just worked his way back into the rotation and has played better, and kudos to all the medical staff here at Chaminade for reviving him, and was out of surgery on December 8th. Just a couple of days later, the entire team afterwards went to his house, and just seeing that he was okay boosted the morale for Chaminade. And after such an experience like that, Kalichan, the icing on the cake would be going out a winner. And he's down underneath. But Rose will let it fly and connect. Cam Rose, the southpaw, dials in the triple. And Chaminade up by 30. Chapet denied Kalichan. Vlagianitis, the layup is good. What a second half it's been for Vlagianitis. He's got 19.
Vlagianitis just an outbreak in the second half, and you can't ask for much more from the guy. He's got 19, 3, and 3 right now.
Cooper. Not that time. Kalichan disrupts and then fouls Chapet.
Tough break right there for PJ Kalichan. You know, we talk about his story, and again, you can't thank the coaching staff and the Chaminade staff enough, but PJ Kalichan really pulling through with guys like Coach Jorge Vargas, Coach Feeney, Coach Bob Paul, all by his side the whole way through.
Tip of the cap to those gentlemen as some more subs for Chaminade, Matt DeFazio and Cam Elliott, who has been out with a hip injury, missed an entire month, seeing his first action in just under 6 weeks, wearing number 1 in white for the Flyers.
Elliott, a nagging hip injury, something he thought he would have gotten done and dealt with in maybe a week or two, but missed the whole month of January. Hasn't played in a game since December 30th. It's just awesome to see him back on the court right now. And Elliott was a guy that played major minutes for Chaminade through the first few games of the year. But that injury, pretty major setback.
Kalichan loses it after he swarms. Cooper working over Cam Rose and an acrobatic finish. Or Malachi Cooper. Seen some flashes of athleticism for Cooper, a very flashy guard as well. Midway through the fourth, here's Kalichan. DeFazio spins it over to Shevlin. Here's Rose. He's been fearless this quarter, and he finishes. Rose with 5 points.
Cam Rose, again, showing off the handle, but also the bunnies as he gets to the rim.
Kalichan with the swat. Cooper steps into a 3 and gets the friendly roll.
Shooter's touch for Cooper right there. However, Chaminade still a 28-point lead here in the AAC.
And Cooper's done a little bit of everything. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And there's a 3 for the Flyers. Cam Elliott with his first triple in just under 6 weeks. Cooper lets it go. Not that time. And DeFazio spins it up ahead to Rose. Underneath, Kalichan, the mismatch with Colonna. Reverse layup doesn't fall. And now it's DeFalco. DeFalco layup. That was disrupted. Good job by Shevlin. In third gear, tied up with Chapet. And the possession arrow points to the Titans.
Shevlin not on the score sheet yet today in terms of points, but kicking it into gear on that play. As in these last 3 minutes, he's really going to try and pile them on. Again, an all-senior lineup out here right now on the court. You got Okoye, Kiernan, Shevlin, Charles, and DeFazio.
Sam Horn. We'll flip it over to Chapet. And now ripped away. Here come the Flyers the other way. Shevlin weaving through a couple of defenders and draws the foul.
Shevlin hasn't made a free throw for Chaminade this season just yet. Looking to get his first few here today, as he wants those points desperately in his last game on Chaminade turf.
Well, and Botch, I guess just looking forward for Chaminade, 2 minutes and 29 seconds away from picking up their 20th win of the year. You know, you knew this year that you would have an all-senior lineup if you were Coach Feeney of Chaminade, and how is that team going to gel, especially with, you know, managing what could be some egos and seniors feeling a sense of entitlement. He hasn't had that. They've responded in bunches and are probably having one of the best years in recent history for Chaminade, but of course the task is not done yet. They want to obviously win the states, and first up will have to be this victory here against Holy Trinity, but going forward, whether it's against the Baptist, St. Anthony's, this is a Chaminade team that's been tested all year, and now the real season begins for the Flyers.
Yeah, you want to go into the playoffs with as much momentum as you could possibly get, and a 30-point win versus the 3-seeded Holy Trinity is not an easy task, so it's really good to see them playing as well as they have today with 1:50 to go.
Nice move for Sam Horn, gets his first bucket of the contest. The tap underneath, and that doesn't fall for Charles. Horn off the mark. Final 90 seconds to play in regulation. Sean Kieran steps on the end line.
Tough break right there for Chaminade, but still 1:26 to get this one going. Shevlin coming out. And now Matt DeFazio, or excuse me. Yes. John Stanko coming in for the Flyers.
Stanko wearing number 14 in white. As Justin Brown gets the bucket to go.
Now Stanko will take it up for the Flyers. DeFazio open for 3. That one off the mark, but he hit one in the first, as he did start this game here on Senior Day.
And we're under a minute to play, as Tyler Alexis gives it off to Pianutsky. Piakowicz, I apologize. Kieran in the corner, not that time. Thrown up on the offensive rebound by DeFazio. And DeFazio getting ready for some window dressing time.
DeFazio looking to pretty up his stat sheet right here. He's got 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists on the day. Sweeten the pot for the end of his Chaminade Flyers regular season career. Shevlin going to come back in for the last 40.
And, of course, if Feeney could have all the seniors on the floor at one time, he would do so, but cannot. Free throw falls for DeFazio, and a 5-second differential between game and shot clock should be the last possession for the Titans. High off the window, that doesn't fall. Chaminade gets the rebound. And Feeney will call off the Dogs, as Chaminade will pick up their 20th win of the year, knocking off Holy Trinity 78-50. Dave DeBuscher leads the way with 29 points. Anthony Vlagianitis, a fantastic second half. He had 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists as the top dogs, the Chaminade Flyers, move into the playoffs as the number 1 seed. Meanwhile, Holy Trinity, they are now into the 3 seed. They fall to 11-7, 7-3 overall. A very good 100% effort for Chaminade tonight at home on Senior Day.
Chaminade get 20 wins. And what a day it has been here for the Flyers. Can't get much better than a 20-win season, as they come out with a victory over the Titans in what they most likely thought of as a rivalry game.
So with that, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll speak to our player of the game on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST,
Thunder, and what a look!
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
At Chaminade, it is the Flyers knocking off Holy Trinity, picking up their 20th win of the year. He's John Baccio. I'm John Perez. We're joined by our player of the game, Dave DeBuscher. 29 points in the victory. We'll talk about your game in a second, but on senior day, just tell me what it's been like to be a Flyer over these past few years.
It's been incredible, just from the practices, early mornings, the summer workouts, like everything. Like, time flew, and just everything's hitting so fast, and today is like perfect way to end out our last home game ever. Man.
Crazy to think about, but Dave, let's get back to that game. 29 points tonight, as we said. Just what was working out there?
A lot of my shots came from my team passing the ball to me. Felt it going early and just kept shooting, but they were looking for me, and then we were just making plays. Just came back to me and just ready to shoot. Had it tonight, I don't know.
Coming into this game, I know you were 42 points away from 1,000. I'm sure you were probably thinking maybe that's in the realm of possibility, but if not, let's just get a lot closer and worry about that at a later time. But when you're in the zone like that, just take me through that feeling. Are you counting the threes? Do you know how many you have? Or are you just letting it fly?
Oh, yeah, I was definitely going for that 1,000 on senior night. Fell short in the fourth quarter. We were up by so much, so it was good to get the other guys in. But no, I was definitely on my mind. I knew what I was at. Just couldn't get there. It was close, though. Should be able to get it next game before the playoffs, hopefully.
You know, we talk about that 1,000-point mark. Obviously, the championship is the top goal at the end of the day. But what other goals have you set out for yourself to end this season?
Just every game, we're taking it one step at a time. Obviously, we want states, federations, everything. But we're taking it one step at a time. We want to win the league first and worry about this stuff later.
Well, and I know we're not at that later point yet, but the last question here will be just what are you going to remember about this crew in this gym and playing for Chaminade?
Well, we got 10 seniors on the team. They've all been here since freshman year, so just remember the memories from freshman year before COVID even happened. Think about that. So great group of guys, and sophomore Ricky and our juniors, they were all great. So it's just a really fun group of guys, and remember the memories we had on and off the court.
All right, Dave, well, congratulations on the win. 20 wins for the Chaminade Flyers. We'll wrap it up in a moment here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Captain Jack from Cardinal Hayes, and you're watching Varsity Media.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Back here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, he's John Baccio. I'm John Perez. What a fun night for the Chaminade Flyers. I mean, they were just letting it fly. We obviously just spoke to Dave DeBuscher, but a complete effort by the Flyers. We saw a good effort out of P.J. Kalichan, and Vlagianitis took over in that second half. Going forward for Chaminade, how tough of a team are they in the playoffs?
I mean, they've locked up the 1 seed at this point. Only one loss in the league, and that was a tough one to St. John the Baptist here on their home court, their home hardwood. But, I mean, heading into the playoffs, what makes them so dangerous, you say? It's everything that they do. And I know that's a general statement. You can't really knock it down to one thing. But, I mean, the shooting, the passing, the finishing, the defense, everything that they do on the court is why they're so dangerous at the end of the day. They execute so well in absolutely everything that they do. And it's just tough to beat a well-rounded team like Chaminade that's so well coached, and they have such talent on the squad. They're so deep. Everything about them is what makes them dangerous heading into the playoffs.
And, of course, just one last point, too. It'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Holy Trinity as well, a number 3 seed. Certainly a better team than what we've seen tonight. They'll also be a tough out in the playoffs.
100%. Holy Trinity, I mean, last year we saw what they could do. Obviously graduated a lot of players. Matt DeFalco, the only one with that playoff experience. But what Holy Trinity really is going to look to do in that playoff term is everything goes wild in playoffs, and that's just what you have to expect. Well, that's exactly what Holy Trinity plays for. I mean, they love the wild. They embrace it, fast breaks, transition points, everything like that. I mean, we saw a couple of possessions today where Matt DeFalco's getting it at half court, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. Let me just take it to the rack and hit a shot over everybody and get the and one. Possessions like that is just what makes Holy Trinity so special, an athletic group of guys that are just tough to knock off the floor.
Don't sleep on Holy Trinity. They'll be back. But we will not be back. That will do it here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. For our executive producer, Ben Turchin, our director is Chris Sweeney, Angelo Caiazzo, and Ron Pierre on the sticks, both of our cameramen. Thank you to Mike Seville doing the stats today. And a shout-out to the rest of the Chaminade crew. He's John Baccio. I'm John Perez. This has been a presentation of Catholic League Boys Basketball on the Varsity Media Sports Network.